I offer my humble salutations to Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Today's healthcare webinar is a service-wing presentation giving information on how we can help save lives by participating in blood donation, stem cell, and bone marrow donation. On this occasion, there will be no Q&A session, but for more information, there will be a list of contact details at the end. As man is born in society, brought up in society, educated in society, and deriving countless benefits from society, it is only right to give something back to society. There is a great need for these donations, and what better way to serve than give someone the gift of life? Jai Sai Ram.
Om Sri Sai Ram. Tonight's session starts with blood donation. Blood is used to help patients in many different clinical situations. There are no substitute for blood, platelets, or plasma as they cannot be manufactured. Hence, anyone who needs blood or blood products relies on donation. Blood donation is a selfless service where a donor voluntarily gives blood to be used for an unknown recipient. Liquid Love is a national initiative which started many years ago to fulfill our obligation to society. Blood is made up of red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and plasma. When you donate blood, your blood is taken to the NHS Blood and Transplant Lab, where it is divided into red blood cells, platelets, and plasma by specialized machine. Each pint of blood donated can help to save or improve the lives of 3 people. An average adult has about 10 pints of blood circulating in the body. 2/3 of the red cells are used to treat many medical conditions, and 1/3 is used in surgery and emergencies. Platelets are used to treat people with cancer and other conditions, people after surgery, and for adults and babies in intensive care. Plasma can be used to stop blood loss in trauma patients and is also made into a medicine for people with weak immune systems. The blood group you belong to depends on what you have inherited from your parents. There are many blood group systems known today, but the ABO and rhesus systems are the most important ones used for blood transfusions. In this system, there are 8 main types, and they are not always compatible with each other. Therefore, the donor's blood type must first be verified, and the donations are divided into groups based on who will receive the collected blood. Although there are 8 main blood types, there are many rare blood subtypes which are more common in specific communities. This shows the percentage of donors with blood types in England. Each group is important, and donors from every group are required to ensure that the blood banks have the right blood for the people who need it. However, some blood types are in higher demands from hospital than others. For example, O negative blood, the universal blood group, which can be used in emergencies. Blood can be vital for people with medical conditions, for those who are having surgery, and in emergencies including childbirth. Blood transfusion can also improve the quality of life for people whose illness has no cure. When we donate blood, we generate new blood. It takes about 24 hours to replace the plasma and about 4 to 6 weeks to replace the red blood cells from our donation. There are some health benefits for donors too. People usually donate because it feels good to help others, and these acts of kindness have been linked to positive health outcomes. Who can give blood? There are some requirements that a person must meet before donating blood. Anyone who is 17 years or over, generally fit and well, and who meet all the eligible conditions can give blood. By being a blood donor, you are able to save lives while going about yours. The body can easily replace a small amount of blood loss, which makes blood donation possible. How often can you give blood? Men can give blood every 12 weeks, about 4 times a year, and women can give blood every 16 weeks, about 3 times a year. Blood has a limited shelf life. Red cells can be stored up to 35 days, platelets up to 7 days, and plasma up to 3 years. Appointments to donate blood are arranged based on a donor's blood type to meet future patients' needs. Hence, collection are done only for what is needed to avoid wastage. What do you need to do? Become a blood donor. You will need to log on the website or call to register your details. If you are a new blood donor, you will need to register your details to check if blood donation is appropriate for you. Most people can give blood, but sometimes it is not possible to be a blood donor. After you have registered your details and received approval, you will then need to create an online account where you will be able to manage your appointments and update your details. Once you have set up your online account, you can download the NHS Give Blood app, which gives you a real-time view of appointments currently available. What happens when you give blood? When you arrive at your donation session, you will be guided throughout the process, and any question you may have will be answered. This is the short clip of what happens on the day.
Making an appointment is the best way to arrange your donation, as it's easier and will save you time. Before you give blood, you should eat regular meals, drink plenty of fluids, and avoid any vigorous exercise. We aim to ensure that your whole donation journey lasts no more than 1 hour from your planned arrival time. When you arrive, you should give your completed donor health check questionnaire to the receptionist. You'll be given our welcome leaflet to read, as well as 500 millilitres of water to drink, which will aid your well-being during and after your donation. When your name is called, you'll be taken for your private health screening. You'll be asked some confidential questions, and your hemoglobin levels will be tested. This only takes a moment and is done by taking a small blood sample from your finger. If all is well, after a short wait, you'll be invited to a donation chair. A cuff will be put on your upper arm to maintain a small amount of pressure during your donation, and your arm will be cleaned before the needle is inserted. Your donation will normally take around 5 to 10 minutes to complete. Once you reach the full 470 milliliter donation, the needle will be removed and a sterile dressing will be secured on your arm. We'll also give you a card with some important care advice to take home with you. You'll then be able to go and enjoy the refreshment area, where drinks and snacks are available. You should relax here for at least 15 minutes and have at least 2 drinks to stay properly hydrated. After that, you can book your next donation appointment to keep saving lives with your generosity. Book your appointment to donate. Visit blood.co.uk today. Save a life. Give blood.
There is a constant need for a regular supply of blood because blood can only be stored for a limited period of time before use. The NHS Blood and Transplant need nearly 5,000 people to give blood every day to meet the needs of hospital and patients, 400 new donors daily to meet demand, and about 1 million new blood donors over the next 5 years. There are 25 permanent blood donation venues in England and thousands of temporary community-based venues such as church halls, mosques, sports centres, football stadium and hotels where you can give blood. Giving blood is one of the most selfless things we can do, and any time is a perfect time to give the gift of life.
Loving Sai Ram to you all. I'm grateful to Service Wing of Sai Organization to given me this opportunity. to say a few words that how this Liquid Love program was started by Sathya organization of United Kingdom collectively. It was during the Swami's 60th birthday in 1985. We decided what is the best offering to our dear Lord, and we thought that it is nice to encourage the people to come forward and give the blood, because at that time England was going through the great shortage of the blood, and many operations and essential procedures were postponed. And this was a good way of encouraging the people to come forward and become the worthy instrument of saving the life of our fellow beings. Those days, unfortunately, Google Internet was not available, and a lot of people have some basic fear and myth about donating the blood. So we decided, actually, the doctors will go to the centers and take the question and answers and remove the doubt from their mind. It encouraged a lot of people. And the first collective blood donation was arranged in Russell Square in 1985, and we thought it is appropriate to at least have 60 donors on Swami's 60th birthday. But I can't remember the exact number, but it is over 100 people have donated the blood. But atmosphere was so spiritual that those people who came from the blood donation center to collect the blood with their own, they were overwhelmed with the love and humility of the volunteers, how the people were doing that, thanking them to give them a chance to donate the blood. This was a new experience for them, and they realized. And after that, it has become quite normal, actually, from north, south, east, and west, all over the country, the people will donate the blood. That year, the maximum number of the blood was donated by a single organization, and a certificate was issued on Bhagwan Sri Sat Sai Baba's name. And in all his kindness and mercy, Swami has displayed that on his window in his interview room. I'm sure many of people who have visited at that time Swami during 60th birthday, they must have seen that sort. That was a great moment, and that has encouraged more and more people. Along with that, there is another program was started, that awareness of thalassemia major. And then after that, Anthony Nolan Trust was also contacted, and then that bone marrow initiative was started, and Brother Thanda has done great work in this respect. And we can see that now from that stage where it has reached today, and more people are coming forward. And I can tell you, this is the best way to save the life of the fellow being, and I'm sure Swami will bless you all to encourage you to come and participate in this noble activity. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, dear viewers, for taking time to join us this evening. Please do encourage your families and friends to join us in this selfless service to society. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, everyone. Today we're going to explore a very important topic, stem cell and bone marrow donation to save lives. We'll start with some basics. What are stem cells? Stem cells produced in bone marrow are the body's master cells from which all other cells with specialized functions are generated. Under the right conditions in the body or in a laboratory, stem cells divide to form more cells called daughter cells. These daughter cells become either new stem cells or specialized cells such as blood cells, brain cells, heart muscle cells, or bone cells. No other cell in the body has the natural ability to generate new cell types. Stem cells are very important because they can be guided into becoming specific cells that can be used in people to regenerate and repair tissues that have been damaged or affected by disease. Now, we said earlier that stem cells can form into different types of blood cells. Basically, These are red blood cells which transport oxygen, white blood cells which fight infection, and platelets which, with clotting factors, stop bleeding. We can now have an overview of blood cancer. There are more than 100 types of blood cancer. Every 27 seconds, someone somewhere in the world is diagnosed with blood cancer. Various factors can negatively affect the production of normal blood cells. The result is the generation of immature or abnormal blood cells which enter the bloodstream and multiply in an uncontrolled manner. These cancer cells flood the bloodstream and outnumber the healthy blood cells. Blood cancer, for example leukemia, where there's an increase in non-functional white blood cells, then takes hold. The patient becomes prone to infection, oxygen uptake is reduced, and stopping of bleeding becomes a problem. Blood cancer is the 5th most common cancer in the UK, with over 40,000 people being diagnosed with it every year. About 250,000 people are living with blood cancer in the United Kingdom. 1 in every 16 men and 1 in every 22 women will develop it at some point in their lives. It's the most common type of childhood cancer, with more than 500 children aged under 15 diagnosed with it each year. There are various ways of treating blood cancer. We can use radiotherapy, chemotherapy, targeted therapies, immunotherapy, and stem cell transplants. Stem cell transplants are used when the other treatment options are not effective. How do we get healthy stem cells for a transplant? We need to find a donor with compatible human leukocyte antigens. Human leukocyte antigens are a type of molecule found on the surface of most cells in the human body. They play an important part in the body's immune response to foreign substances, and they make up a person's tissue type, which varies from person to person. Human leukocyte antigen tests are done before a stem cell donation takes place to find out if the antigens of the donor and the recipient are compatible. Now, only 30% of patients are able to find a match within their family. Bone marrow registries have a list of donors and thus widen the number of donors available. There are 3 United Kingdom registries and they share anonymized data. This is a photograph of Shirley Nolan and her son Anthony. They played a major role in the setting up of stem cell donor registries, so I think it's worthwhile listening to their story. Shirley Nolan was born in Cookridge, Leeds on 10th February 1942. Her father was a soldier and her mother was a bus conductor. Shirley got married in 1962, studied at London's Guildhall School of Music and Drama, and became a teacher in Harlow, Essex. She later rose to become head of drama at a school in Rainham, Essex. In 1969, she travelled to Australia and lived in Adelaide, where her son Anthony Nolan was born in 1971. Anthony suffered a brain hemorrhage, and after he was allowed home 8 months later, he was diagnosed with Wiskott-Aldrich syndrome, a rare inherited blood disorder. Now, Wiskott-Aldrich syndrome is a malady characterized by a severe immune deficiency and thrombocytopenia, which is a deficiency of platelets in the blood, leading to bleeding into body tissues, bruising, and slow blood clotting after injury. Treatment with stem cells from a compatible donor would have been possible, but neither of Anthony's parents was compatible with him. In 1973, Shirley read a newspaper article about Simon Bostic, the first patient to successfully receive a bone marrow transplant from an unrelated donor at the Westminster Children's Hospital in London. When she phoned the surgeon who had performed that operation, he said it could be done again and agreed to accept Anthony for treatment. That August, in 1973, Shirley, her mother and Anthony flew to London, setting up home in a cottage in Thanet, Kent. At the end of December, Anthony went into hospital, and Shirley heard about a tissue typing effort at the hospital which had ceased because of a lack of funding. Shirley launched an appeal which led to massive media and business support that resulted in 4 technicians being employed at the hospital to tissue type thousands of volunteers. Thus, in 1974, Shirley founded the Anthony Nolan Bone Marrow Register for stem cell donors, the first of its kind in the world. Sadly, no match was found for Anthony Nolan, and he died in 1979 without ever having received a transplant. The Anthony Nolan Register moved to St. Mary Abbott's Hospital in Kensington in 1978. When that hospital closed down in 1992, it moved to offices and a research facility in the grounds of the Royal Free Hospital in Hampstead, North London. The research there is focused on reducing post-transplant complications and improving the quality of life after transplant. Importantly, in 1988, Anthony Nolan became a founding member of Bone Marrow Donors Worldwide, which connects patients and donors around the world. Anthony Nolan, with more than 300,000 potential donors listed in the UK, has helped in excess of 22,000 people receive a life-saving transplant. Coming back to Shirley Nolan, sadly, she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in the early 1980s and died in Adelaide in July 2002, aged just 60. She actually took her own life because she was suffering so much. By the time she died, there were 50 registers similar to the one she established, recording the bone marrow details of over 7 million. This slide shows the timeline of the Anthony Nolan story. Now there's a desperate need for donors of stem cells. This is more so for Black and minority ethnic patients whose chance of finding a match on the register is 20%, compared to white patients where in 70% of cases a match can be found. Our size centers, because of our demographics, can significantly increase the chances of Black and minority ethnic patients surviving. We now consider the case of a pretty little girl who needed a stem cell transplant. This is Isha Nadisorin, a Sri Lankan girl aged 4 from Gants Hill in East London, who was diagnosed with leukemia in May 2021. She spent 15 weeks at Great Ormond Street Hospital undergoing 2 intensive but unsuccessful cycles of chemotherapy. They discovered Isha had cancer when she lost her appetite, became lethargic, and developed a bruise on her leg. Doctors gave Isha 3 weeks to live unless a stem cell donor could be found. None of Isha's family members was a match, so a search began for an unrelated donor. As we know, ethnic minorities such as South Asians are heavily underrepresented in the bone marrow register, and it is much more difficult for patients with an ethnic heritage to find a matching donor. Currently, only 2% of the UK population are registered as potential donors, and just 13% of those on the register come from minority ethnic backgrounds. Isha's family appeal for more people from South Asian backgrounds to sign up to the Bone Marrow Register, either through Anthony Nolan or the British Bone Marrow Registry. a strong campaign with donor stations being set up throughout London, at temples and in Glasgow, and the appeal being publicized through social media led to many new potential donors signing up to the register. 12 days after they received the devastating news that Isha had only 3 weeks to live, Isha's family revealed that a matching donor had been found for the 4-year-old. The donor was someone in Singapore, where the Tamil population is about 200,000. So how do we register as a stem cell donor? For Anthony Nolan, we need to be aged 16 to 30, but we'll stay on the register until we're 61. With the British Bone Marrow Registry, which is under the NHS, the age range is 17 to 40. So with Anthony Nolan, basically you go to the website at www.anthonynolan.org and order a swab kit online. After answering a few simple questions related to your age, your height and weight, and whether you've suffered certain illnesses. Then you swab the inside of your cheeks and return the kit. Your name will be added to the register, available to patients all around the world. If you're a blood donor, you can get added to the British Bone Marrow Registry at your next blood. So far, we've covered the Stem Cell Registry run by Anthony Nolan and the British Bone Marrow Registry run by the National Health Service. The third registry in the UK is run by DKMS. They have a wider age range for donors, covering age 17 to 55. We can register with DKMS by going to www.dkms.org.uk/register-now. What happens next?
Anthony Nolan saves the lives of people with blood cancer. If you're on the Anthony Nolan Stem Cell Register and you come up as a match, this is what would happen next. When someone anywhere in the world needs a stem cell transplant, we search our register of brilliant potential donors. If you're a match, we'll get in touch. We'll ask you to go to your local doctors or hospital to give a blood sample, which you send back to us for further tests to make sure you're the best possible match for the patient. Once we're sure you're a match, we'll let you know the exciting news and we'll chat on the phone about the details of donating. Next up, we'll give you a full health checkup to make sure you're in tip-top shape. We'll pay for all your transport to one of our specialist hospitals, where you'll also go to donate. About a week later, we'll give you the go-ahead if everything looks fine, and make arrangements for your donation, including booking all your travel and a hotel. For 90% of people, they will donate via peripheral blood stem cell collection, or PBSC, where stem cells are collected from your bloodstream. For 4 days, a nurse will come to you at home or work and give you a course of injections that stimulate your body to produce stem cells. You'll probably start to feel a bit achy. That's as the stem cells emerge from your bone marrow and flood your bloodstream. They work to help your body repair, so they're completely natural. On the 4th day, you and your companion will travel to the hotel to put your feet up for the night. The next morning, you'll go to our specialist hospital and your donation will begin. You're connected to a PBSC machine, which takes blood out of one arm, filters the stem cells out, and then returns the blood to your other arm. This takes about 4 to 5 hours, and you can't move too much, so bring a pal who's good to chat to and a box set to get through. When you've finished, your bag of stem cells is taken to a lab to check the count, and if they're enough, you can head home. If we haven't collected quite enough, then you'll need to pop back the next day for another session on the machine. After your donation, you'll probably feel a bit tired, but this passes after a few days. For 10% of people, they donate via their bone marrow. This is because it's sometimes better for the patient, which is why we make sure when you sign up to the register, you're happy to donate via both methods. You travel to our specialist hospital with your companion, where you'll stay for the night whilst your pal goes to a hotel. The next morning, you'll have a general anesthetic and a short procedure where bone marrow is taken from your pelvis using a needle and syringe. When you wake up, you'll have 2 plasters and feel a bit bruised in the areas where the bone marrow was taken from. You'll also feel tired after the anesthetic for the next few days. You might want to take some paracetamol and rest, and you'll spend the day and 1 more night in the hospital recovering. Whichever method you donate by, someone from Anthony Nolan will come to say a huge thank you and give you a goodie bag just to make sure you know you're doing an amazing thing. After you've donated, your stem cells will be taken to the waiting patient who's had their immune system wiped out in preparation for the donation. They need your stem cells to kickstart their immune system into action and help begin their recovery. Your body replaces your donated stem cells quickly, and you will have given someone a second chance at life. You can help save the lives of people with blood cancer, and we think that's incredible.
This slide summarizes what will happen if you come up as a match. You will be contacted as soon as possible. A blood sample will be taken from you to confirm you are the best possible match. In 90% of cases, the stem cells will be taken directly from your bloodstream. This involves a 4 to 5 hour stay in hospital. In 10% of cases, the stem cells will be collected from your bone marrow in the hip bone while you're under general anesthetic. This involves a 2-night stay in hospital. Your stem cells will then be transplanted into the patient. To conclude, we need more donors of stem cells, especially from the Black and minority ethnic population. Donating stem cells is straightforward, but we have to first register ourselves as donors. Devotees from our Sai centers can significantly increase the chances of Black and minority ethnic patients surviving. There is nothing more precious than life, and so saving someone's life must be the ultimate seva. Thank you very much for your attention. Jai Sai Ram. Please note, if any Sai Centre in the UK would like the foregoing presentation to be given in person, please email service@srisatyasai.org.uk.
Thank you all very much for giving up your time and joining today's webinar on blood, stem cell, and bone marrow donation. As an organization, we have been participating in this service since 1985. And I thank the selfless volunteers who have already donated for their life-saving gifts. I pray the webinar was useful and will inspire more to donate. For further information, please see the contact details at the end or email service@srisatyasai.org.uk. Blood donation, stem cell and bone marrow donation are great acts of kindness to humanity for their help to save lives. There is a constant need for donors, so let us all come together as a nation and save lives. Thank you to everyone involved in researching, compiling, and presenting today's webinar. Thank you, beloved Swami, for being with us and guiding us in all we do. Please join us for the next healthcare webinar on Tuesday, the 6th of September. We look forward to your company. Jai Sai Ram.